So dear students, today we're going to discuss a very important thing, that is the ethics in research. So what is ethics? Here you can see on the slide. Good ethics explain the concept of right and lack of it represents wrong and actions which do not harm others. But here we need to define who we are talking about. Are we talking about people in terms of others? Are we talking about respect, feeling, emotions of an individual? Or we are talking about the whole environment to whom we are going to harm, right? And what would be the impact of that? Or here you can see ethical values can be described in terms of moral standards. Moral standards are rules which differentiate between right and wrong. So we need to understand, because we have been a part of Indian culture, and in Indian culture since our childhood, we live in a such kind of environment where our parents, our grandparents, they guide us, they tell us that what is right, what is wrong, what are the different moral values. And over the period of time, we become very strong because we follow moral values. We understand what is right and wrong, and it is the application of education, right? It is the implication of a knowledge or a education. So if you are a knowledgeable person, educated person, we hope that you will have more responsibility towards moral standards. You will have more responsibility to understand, implement and define, and not only implement, define, you need to immerse, you need to reflect that kind of moral values through your personality, through your act. So in research, if you talk about ethics ensure that no one is harmed and face any consequences as a result of the research activities so conducted. So who we are talking about? As I mentioned, that if you conduct a research on animal, are you going to harm them? If you are conducting a research on patient as a doctor, so will it be a issue of ethical values? And in some cases, we cannot draw a line that what is wrong, what is right. For example, now Professor Michael Sandwood from Harvard, he has introduced a new concept, and according to him, nowadays everything is on sale. Your emotions, your relationship. So he has given a new term called marketing society. So each and every activity which represent your relationship, it represent your emotion, whatever we have in terms of human relation, everything is on sale and you can market. So we have a marketing for each and every kind of emotions, feeling, a relationship. So it's a matter of concern. It's a matter of concern that few things ethically we feel, it may be because of we live in a particular culture or follow a particular religion. It may be because of that we understand that you can't market, you can't sell each and every activity which may be very personal to you, which may be very religious to you. So let us see what we're going to discuss further today. And here, with more information, the term ethics has been derived from the Greek word ethos, meaning character. Ethical issues arise at all stages of business and management research. So it's a very old saying that if you lose money, you you lost nothing, right? If you lost your character, right, then you lost everything. So here, what is important when we talk about ethics, that your respect, your name, your fame, your money, everything is okay. There may be instances that you need to sacrifice. Instead of sacrifice, you need to compromise these kind of things. But it's okay. I mean, there may be a situation, but if you lose your character, I mean, that is the situation which will not harmful or horrible to the society, but would be harmful and horrible for you yourself also. So ethical issues arises at all stages of business and management research. And generally, you might have seen that a lot of people they want to make money with some shortcut. In management also, if you feel that you got some position or by virtue of some activity you have that kind of authority, now you have become master because of that practices, because of some authority. Now you got a right to mold, to twist the information. So up to what extent that is okay, that is ethically right or wrong, we all understand. So ethical issues are philosophical in nature. So what is right for you may be wrong for me. Whatever is right for me may be wrong for you, right? And generally what we do, whenever we do something wrong, we ready with lot of excuses, lot of justification. If you are, you speak truth, then there is no need of any excuses or any justification. But if you're lying to me, you will think of one excuse. If you're not able to justify, then go for a second excuse. If you're not able to justify, then find out some other alternative. So nowadays, if you talk to people, what kind of excuses they give? A common excuse is, sir, I'm suffering from COVID. I'm not able to perform my duty, right? I was not aware of it because we don't have physical meeting. And so this is a one excuse, right? Very common excuse. I hope you all knows it that because of COVID, these kind of issues are there. So ethics are standards of behavior. So you reflect ethics through your behavior, and there are some norms which guide the behavior and relationship with others. Now here we see that what kind of ethical issues we have in business research. Here you see first case of plagiarism. This is very common. This is very common. A lot of information is available on internet. You write on Google search, the information would be there. And what we generally do, we copy it and paste it simply. It's called plagiarism. You got some pleasure because you don't need to use your mind. You don't need to do hard work. Simply put a question, answer is there. Just copy it and paste it. Not only this, what you do, you see that someone is good in writing an answer. Take that answer, copy here and paste it. This is what a plagiarism. Up to what extent you guys agree with me that plagiarism is, I'm happy with plagiarism because you don't need to go for any, work. You don't need to put a lot of hard work. You don't need to take any pain. But do you think there is any gain without pain? So think about it that up to what extent plagiarism has created a lot of issue, a lot of problem. So we'll talk about all this: plagiarism, integrity of data, publication practices and authorship, ownership and access to data, storage and retention of data, and very important thing, conflict of interest. A conflict of interest may be in terms of your point of view, my point of view. You can have a point of view that when everybody is doing like this, so why should I not? My conflict of interest would be, my justification would be that do you think that it would be ethically right if others follow the same thing you're also following? So sometimes it represent that what kind of you know culture you being a part of, which kind of culture, right? In which culture you groomed. So these all factors play a very important. Among you also, very I can say a very strong students, and they know that what kind of work they need to do, what kind of performance they need to give, and they don't run away from the hard work. And here you see first, as I mentioned, plagiarism. The problem of plagiarism is becoming very common in research, especially in the wake of widespread easy accessibility of internet. So this is one disadvantage, cons of internet, that whatever you wish, things are available. What you need to do, copy and pasted it. So plagiarism is all about not giving credit to the source one use. So whether published or not, and whether written or oral or on a website. So it may be in terms of some text, idea, process, or anything else, right? Or maybe answer to a particular question. Things are available, and our problem is we don't want to read, we don't want to understand it, just copy and paste it and enjoy that privilege. So that is called plagiarism. Second, integrity of data. Generally, suppose you have been asked to collect data from 20 students of your class. So what you will do, because who knows that you collected data from 20 students, you will collect the data from 10, and remaining 10 you will cook yourself, right? And not only this is giving fabrication to your existing data, falsifying data also, right? Here cooking in the sense you don't know what is the right information, so it's a falsifying data to support the hypothesis. Because you need to justify what you are saying, so what do, you collect data in such a manner which will support your result, which will support your hypothesis, which will defend your argument. So it's a serious form of misconduct, Data should be stored in such a manner that the confidentiality and privacy can be maintained. Proper record keeping system must be designed to keep records safely with codes so that others cannot generate false outcome from the data. So here, how do you perceive the outcome of analysis? So we play with data, we collect data, use data with the help of statistical tools and techniques. We come to a conclusion, and on the basis of a conclusion, we decide that we will be taking this kind of decision. So here, if data is false, it's a fabricated data, so up to what extent you can rely upon, that would be a big problem. Then ownership of and access to data. Now suppose there have been a lot of cases here in India also. You invented something, you got it patented, and then you saw that someone else is using, and without buying it, without, and for example, there have been a lot of stories, a lot of books which are not freely accessible, but there have been a lot of software. You can crack the code and you can use that book journals also. So this is what that particular product belong to a particular person. This is like you go to a shop, you go to a mall, pick any product and come back without paying a payment. So this is what, without making a payment, when you come out, it would be same here, that someone is owner and he has kept some price if you want to access that information, but now you got some access so that you are not supposed to pay. So now you can understand what would be the situation. So the ownership of patent and copyright of a project work must be clearly mentioned in a written agreement with the group members. The sharing of revenue. So generally what happens, suppose I am working on a project and I request you all to join me in that particular project. And we will work together, right? Or we can see some more investor from outside. So we need to tell each and everybody what is their rights, what is their responsibility, and how we're going to share the revenue if we are using it for commercial purpose. So same thing in research also. You contributed something, I contributed something, but I am going to get credit for that or not. So here there have been a lot of example where a lot of people, they have done a good job but never ever got any credit for that. So here you need to see that what is your contribution, what is the contribution of owner, and now you need to define it clearly in a contract, that what you supposed to do, what kind of credit you're gonna get, what I supposed to do, and what kind of credit I'm going to get out of that. Then we have storage and retention of data. Now when you take a government project, government tell you that whatever data you collect, you need to give that data to Government of India, so that Government of India can use that information in for future decisions. For example, we have one project called Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. Under that, we have adopted 5 villages, and I personally made a survey with 10 students from Kyorimal College, and we collected all possible information from each and every household, and now we have that information from that 5 villages. And government says that because it was a project, what you need to do, you upload all this information on our Excel sheet or on our software. So for example, if suppose I write a particular article, research paper, because I belong to Delhi University. Delhi University also have one depository in Delhi University Library, where we need to put a one copy of our research, so that each and everybody can access that information. Because now what we are promoting, that we wish that things should be accessible, not for plagiarism, but it should be for more knowledge, more learning. When more knowledge and more learning would be there, more productivity, more efficiency and more effectiveness would be there, and it will create some kind of synergy effect. So generally what happens, suppose you do some research, you get it published. For publication you need to pay money, for research you need to pay money. From where you get money? From government. Now suppose you want to read that particular research, for that also you need to pay money. So who is minting money? The publisher. So this is a government initiative, that whatever funding you are getting from government, the research paper, output, report, you need to put in a public domain, so that public, because it was a public money, tax money, right? And so they would be able to access the information you have developed in a report, you have given in the report. So that report should be in public domain. How people how people will be benefited out of that? Suppose someone else want to conduct a research, they will have data, they will have some information, the way you need to conduct the research. Then we have another issue, as I mentioned, publication practice and authorship. Reports, journals, magazines, a researcher, what is their goal, what is their wish? They want that whatever research they do, people should read it. And where they're supposed to read? It may be either in magazines, newspaper, or journals. So we have research journals, and these research journals are basically area wise, topic wise, right, concept wise. So you will find out, for example, you want to see some research on marketing or an advertisement, so you will see journal of advertisement, journal of marketing. So research journals and professional associations provide criteria for publication and authorship. So there have been a lot of professional association. They have their own journal, and they have defined a clear-cut criteria if you want to get your paper published. Now sponsor may not have full freedom regarding what to publish. So if you pay for it, then I don't know up to what extent it would be a right, because you do a lot of hard work, and now people charge from you to get it published. I don't know up to what extent that would be right. So editor of journal may stop publication of an article in case of potential harm to the society. That is good if you follow rules and regulation, and if you see that your article is gonna impact, or it would be horrible, or creating some horrible picture or harmful to the society, then you can screen out, and then you can stop. Author of the paper will be responsible for research problem, interpretation of result, writing the paper, and defend the publication against criticism. So before they publish your paper, research work, research report, they send it to 3 or 2 people for reviewing it. But ultimately, whosoever is publishing, but it would be your responsibility in terms of interpretation of result, writing the paper, If you want want to understand your publication, whatever criticism comes, you need to defend that. Very important. Conflict of interest, as I mentioned earlier also. Now here you have different stakeholders of your research: your supervisor, your institution, a funding organization, your subordinate, right, your colleague, and those who are reading your research. So there have been lot of stakeholders. Here, researchers' vested interest may compromise an integrity of research. It may be in the form of distortion of a research outcome. So here, whatever outcome you see, if it is not as per your perception, so what you do, you make some changes in data. It would be a kind of distortion, right? And sometime I have noticed that government, when they conduct some research and outcome is not as per their objective, then there would be there may be a chances of conflict of interest. There may be a conflict of interest. Suppose you invent something, and funding organization, they have their objective, you have your own objective. For example, GE has been into more than 300 medical products, and they were serving to, elite class or big hospital, costly hospital. Now they would have some kind of a conflict. What about then 80%, 85% population who live below the, below the, not a poverty line, but they cannot access to these five-star hotel or the expensive hotel. So they had a big, because they have been into commercial products now. So 80% market share was not able to access GE medical products. So they had a big issue. Now conflict was that how to serve this 80% population, right? Should we, compromise with the quality, or should we come out with some alternative with a product which will have less price, which would be less costly, right? Here conflict of interest may be that you wish that you should not continue with the product, but it's going to harm the society, but the funding agency say that you continue with it because we have invested a huge amount and we want some revenue, some profit out of that, right? So we'll talk about ethical principles in next class. So if you have any question,